Georgia beat Auburn last night 20-10. And this is a one-chally game, and I apologize. And there's so many different angles to take on this game. Somewhere out there, someone made this game the first college football game they've ever watched last night. And to you, I apologize. We are better than this. I'm better than this. Aren't we better than this? College football is better than this. It's not always this way. I promise you it's not always this way. Officiating, before you even mention it to me, is its own story in this game. Sometimes officiating is so horrendously bad in a game that we give its own segment to officiating. So officiating, after I get done talking about the game, we're going to just talk about officiating on its own. That's how bad it is. That's how far beyond the pale officiating was in this game. But I promise you, actually, it sucks a lot. Rarely is it this bad. So if you're new to college football, please give us another chance. Please don't make this be what you go back to your soccer friends or your basketball friends and tell them is college football. This is not college football. This is a clown show, and then there was a college football game mixed in. And it's not Auburn's fault or Georgia's fault. They just happen to be the two teams involved. Speaking of two, boy, it was a tale of two halves. I don't know if that's a book that's been written, but it was a tale of two halves. And I got to tell you, man, I thought Georgia was cooked. Hugh Freeze put on a clinic coming out of the bye week here. I want to take you to a moment in time. This seems like so long ago. The moment in time is there is 1 minute, 39 seconds remaining in the first half. At that moment in this game, Auburn had a 228-20 yardage advantage. They had a 44-12 plays run advantage. Auburn had a time of possession edge of like 14 minutes, and they are 1 inch away from making the game 17-0 and probably closing the door on Georgia. Probably. Can't prove that definitively. Instead, the thing ends up being 10-3. And we all know, well, if you watch the game, you know the circus that ensued down there on the goal line. Again, I'm going to talk about that separately in a few minutes. Georgia flipped everything. As bad as you think calls went against you, you cannot allow this game to turn like Auburn did. This is not the playground, man. This is high-level college football. I'm talking about coaches. I'm talking about players from the neck up. I mean, the reason so much is invested in the mental side of this game is because you should have a mental edge about yourself. You may not always have a mental edge against the competition, but at the very least, you need to match them mentally. Georgia was mentally superior to Auburn in this game, and that's a product of culture. And that's a big indictment on Hugh Freeze. Frankly, I mean, a guy that I thought put on a masterclass in the first half here. But to allow your entire group, your entire locker room, your entire sideline to be that disproportionately put on tilt by things not going your way in a game was pretty inexcusable. So I'll get back to that in a second. Gunnar Stockton got lit up. He got Aaron Murray'd last night. He had things done to him physically that frankly don't happen in the sport of football anymore because it's against the rules to just hit quarterbacks like that. But Auburn got after him last night. And you know what happened? Gunnar Stockton was in like 3 or 4 car wrecks last night and just kept getting better. And he's not going to go to win a Heisman Trophy, and he's not going to be some first-round draft pick, but, man, I remember games like that. When you're talking about him 10 years down the road, I don't know where he is at that point. For all I know, he's got his own show. He's doing his own thing, but, man, he got lit up last night. Auburn had 8 quarterback hits. They had 2 sacks, plus he ran the ball 9 times, so he got hit more then, and he just kept getting better. 24-37. He ended up being 65% completion last night. 1 touchdown, no picks, ran it for 26 yards. Just, hey, really quick timeout. We'll get right back to the video. Do me one favor. Make sure you're subscribed. It helps us keep the show free. It helps us keep the lights on. It helps us keep doing college football year-round, and we appreciate it. All right, back to the video. He is such an embodiment of what that team is. If you've watched Georgia football for a long time, you watched Kirby Smart for a long time, I'm going to ask you, do you notice something a little bit different about Kirby and his demeanor this year? I do. And I think I know what it is. I think he knows this team has a lower ceiling than his usual teams have. I don't know what they'll go on to do. They may lose 3 or 4 games. They may win the national title. I don't think this is a national title caliber team. I just don't. I think it's a pretty good Georgia team. I think it's reflected in the attitude Kirby has. And the reason I don't think he looks bent out of shape and outside his mind and apoplectic every week is because I think he understands his team. And here's what he understands. He understands what he has is what a lot of guys will call a coach's team. A coach's team is not always the best team you've ever had talent-wise. It's not always the best team you've ever had in terms of ceiling. A coach's team is a team that you're happy to coach. You're happy to be around them. It is a pleasure to take the practice field with them every day because they fight. And whatever their all is, they give it. It could be 70% of your best teams, but they give their all. So they're given 100%. And what happens sometimes is you've had groups with higher ceilings, but they never hit their ceiling. I've got a lot of confidence in thinking whatever the version of this year's Georgia team's ceiling is, they'll hit. And it's a pleasure to be around guys like that. And I think that's reflected in Kirby Smart's attitude. Now, I will say the trade-off there is maybe they don't go on to win the national title. I don't even know if they'll make the playoff. I think they will. I don't know if they will. I still think they're one of the best teams in the country. Don't get me wrong now. I'm not telling you this is some woebegone 8-4 hopeful for the Pop-Tarts Bowl kind of team. No, they're still very dangerous. But if they don't go on to win a national title, I think Kirby knows in the back of his mind, he'll remember this year as an enjoyable year. But what you got to make sure you do is in a game like Auburn, that's a rivalry game on the road. That's a place that's given you nightmares if you're Kirby Smart throughout your coaching career. You make sure you soak it in, and he did. He hopped up on that table last night and celebrated, and I guarantee if they go beat Florida down in Jacksonville, that's a game the rest of the country will overlook. I guarantee he's very demonstrative celebrating that one as well. And I guarantee you as the fan bases and the message boards are all up in arms about this and that, I guarantee you he'll strike a lot more somber tone, a lot more measured tone at the podium because he knows, first off, his legacy is set, and secondly, he can coach as long as he wants to. But he's got 1 year with this group, and he just strikes me as a guy who's around an enjoyable group of kids to coach. So that's what I'm picking up. That's the vibe I've gotten from them. As for Auburn, I assume this was Auburn's fastball. Jackson Arnold was their leading rusher in this game. Their longest pass play was 18 yards. Now, they tried a couple of more times to push it down the field, but they still really can't do it. Arnold had more time, relatively speaking, but he was still pressured on 14 of 38 dropbacks. If there was going to be a moment, in other words, for the Auburn offense to click, to find itself, to find something, it would have been this game. Georgia's one of the worst pressure teams they'll see the whole year. It's ironic because that's Georgia, but that's what they are this year. And Auburn had the bye week to get ready and to self-scout themselves and do a thorough internal review. And this is what they came out of the gate with. This was their fastball. They hung 10 points at home. And now Missouri's coming in this week. And I will say, I have written on my piece of paper here, Missouri game is very big. The word very is in all caps. I'm not just telling you the Missouri game is big in terms of league standings, if you're picking up what I'm putting down there. So, a lot going on. A lot going on at Auburn.